And our vice chair can't be with us tonight, so the board is going to have to select a temporary chair for tonight, Chair Pro Tem.
I'd like to make a motion that Lindsay Lander serve as our Chair Pro Tem for this evening only.
I will second the motion.
Sorry, Lee, not you.
So all in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Chair.
All right. Well, then I will call this meeting to order. Please forgive me in advance for anything I mess up. First thing that we'll do is have our Pledge of Allegiance. And, well, here is Ms. Granado right now. You want to lead us in our Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The next item is the audience of any citizen. The Florida Gateway College Board of Trustees will hear any citizen who wishes to address the board on a one-time basis pertaining to a relevant topic. If the board wishes to hear more about the topic, that topic will be scheduled for a future board meeting. Each speaker is limited to 3 minutes, and the time dedicated to this topic will not exceed 20 minutes. Are there any audience of any citizen or any citizens that want to bring anything before the board? If not, we'll move on. The next item is approval of the board minutes from September 14th, 2023. The board should have a copy of them in their packet.
And Mr. Chair, if I could, you'll recall that at the last meeting there was an abstention. Statute requires that Form 8B be incorporated into the minutes, which it is, and that it be read aloud at the next subsequent meeting. So if I could just read the nature of the conflicting interests that resulted in that abstention, which is my son, James Norris, was being considered for an appointment for employment with Florida Gateway College as a student assistant, recruitment and communications, part-time, temporary, for the period of August 21st, 2023 through December 18th, 2023. Because approval of this position would result in a private gain to my relative, my son, I abstained.
Thank you. Any discussion? I need a motion to approve the board minutes September 14th, 2023, including the abstention.
So moved.
Was that Ms. Norris?
Yes.
Second?
Second.
Dr. Surrency?
It's hard when you're there. You forget me.
Looking down to see who it is. All right. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion passes. Thank you. You should all turn your Next item of business is the student government report from Ms. Granado. If you'll come up and give us your report.
Good evening. Thank you again for this opportunity to speak with you. Student government hosted 2 trivia days in September. The first trivia topic was finish the favorite movie quotes. The second was name that TV show based on its theme song. We have highly competitive students and they enjoy this activity. This year we have added a little twist to the competition. We invited a celebrity team to compete against the student. This month's celebrities teams were the financial aid and a few of the liberal arts professors. In addition to the student employee picnic, this is another way that SGA is encouraging students to engage with faculty and staff members outside of the classroom or office. We hosted Constitution Day on September 18th. We invited the Supervisor of Elections office out to register students to vote. Students tested their constitutional expertise while playing civic literacy cahoots. Club Rush was held on September 19th. The event allowed clubs to recruit new student members. Finally, on September 27th, we hosted the Fall Festival Transfer and Career Day. The students enjoyed the nice weather as they played games hosted by clubs and won prizes. VP Cardenas will be sharing more about this event during this presentation this evening. This concludes my report for today. Are there any questions?
Any questions? All right. Well, thank you very much. We always appreciate seeing you. It's my favorite part of the meeting. The next item of business is a presentation of the consent agenda. The items on the consent agenda are routine business, state directives, and or compliance items. All items have been reviewed by the board attorney, have been available for to the board for its examination. Any trustee can request a topic to be removed from the consent agenda and discuss further. Typographical errors will be noted and corrected in the board minutes. The board has had an opportunity to review the consent agenda. If there's no request to remove any topic, can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I make a motion.
Motion by Ms. McGinnis,
Second, Medina.
second by Mr. Medina. Any discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Consent agenda passes. Next item is the academic affairs, and Ms. Brown will be presenting academic affairs tonight. Come on up.
Good evening. First, we wanted to thank Ms. McGinnis and the Dixie County Foundation who donated food and snack items to our Lusty campus. You know the way to a public service person's heart is through their stomach, and they were very appreciative. The Florida Society of Environmental Analysts award one Frederick C. Both Scholarship for Environmental Studies a year for $2,000. It's intended for undergraduate or graduate students majoring in environmental science, biology, microchem, physics, or marine science. The competition was so great this year, they decided to award 2 scholarships. And guess what? Both awardees are from Florida Gateway College. A BS in Water Resources student, Raniel Vallejo, and an AS in Environmental student, Kayla Wiley. So congratulations to both of them. The Educational Affairs Committee met yesterday to review a BS in Business Administration. That program will allow AA and AS in business graduates to enter that pathway. The committee approved that curriculum, and we look forward to presenting that to you next month for submission to the state and to SACS. Kay Hogan, the coordinator for library services, has recently been appointed to the Continuing Education Committee of the Northeast Florida Library Information Network for a 3-year term. That committee works in an advisory capacity with a continuing education coordinator to develop continuing education options such as workshops, webinars, and conferences to meet the needs of their 550 member libraries. Recently, several students took their AWS welding certification exams. All 5 students who tested earned at least 1 certification, while 3 earned 2 certifications. Overall, the pass rate was 89%. 1 student passed 1 certification but failed the second due to a procedural error. Dr. Peace, Dr. Mora, and Mr. Cafiro attended the FAMATYC, lots of letters, fall retreat last weekend to discuss with other institutions their new MGF courses and new statewide mathematic pathways that are slated to roll out in fall of 2024. The meeting was helpful to see where other institutions are in the development process, discuss challenges, and hear from the Department of Education representatives regarding forthcoming information. Dr. Morrow was also asked to present a spotlight on FGC and the great work we do. It was very well received. Dr. Cross submitted the AS and Early Childhood Self-Study Report for reaccreditation. This kicks off the reaccreditation process with a site visit taking place in the spring. Dr. Carswell and Dr. Peace submitted the Grow Your Own Teacher Apprenticeship Grant proposal to provide funds to develop an elementary education teacher apprenticeship program with 1 or more districts in our service area. The funding would allow for related technical instruction for apprentices to be developed, as well as significant training for mentor teachers, with a goal to enroll 5 apprentices for the 2024-2025 academic year. The Art Club is in the process of making cardboard and paper mache wolf masks. We are hoping to wear these to the Halloween party that Student Activities is giving on October 25th. The following week, the Art Club will be painting decorative windows for the Halloween trick-or-treating that Student Activities is sponsoring. The final thing I was hoping to report on, as you guys know, we are currently on probation for our PTA program. Our students all tested last week. We had 5 graduates, all 5 tested, and they will be getting their results tonight. So they're supposed to be texting Christine. Christine's supposed to be texting me. We were hoping to have them by the time I gave the report, But if I get them before the end of the meeting, I'll be happy to let you know. So looking for good news there. And that concludes the report.
Great. Any questions for Ms. Brown? All right, thank you very much. Next up is Mr. Cardenas with Student Affairs and Public Information.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, everybody. October has been an eventful month for our Student Activities Department. Excuse me. Last week, we had a record 77 students and 2 buses who traveled to Orlando's Universal Studios Halloween Horror Nights. They were subjected to 10 terrifying haunted houses, including Universal's Monsters, Stranger Things, and Chucky Ultimate Kill Count. I'm happy to report that all students returned to campus safely the following day. We hosted the annual FGC Fall Festival on September 27th. We had 300-plus students participate in the day. This is one of the most significant events that we host through student activities during the academic year. On October 31st, Student Activities will also host campus-wide trick-or-treating events that include all offices on campus and departments. Students are invited to dress up and trick-or-treat that afternoon, unless they have class. They'll be in class if they have class, we promise. Student Success has begun hosting after-hours sessions in our Student Success building. 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. have been very, very successful. Our first session had 30 students. Our second session this week had 40 students, and we'll continue the program the rest of the academic year. Our next session is scheduled for October 25th. Career Services, as part of the FGC Fall Festival program, our Career Services office hosted their annual Career and Transfer Fair. Florida Gateway College, Florida A&M, New College of Florida, St. Leo University, Southern Illinois University, Stetson University, University of Florida, and the University of South Florida all had representatives at the event. Over 75 students met with both college and career representatives. The transfer advisor position closes for applications tomorrow. The search committee has been selected and will meet next week to choose applicants to begin the interview process. In the Public Information Office, we had 2 press releases this month, one on the dual enrollment information sessions, the other one on the cross-country home meet, and our team being ranked number 14 nationally. Those are in your folders, I believe. We have also scheduled the next Life South Campus blood drive for Monday, November 6th. And finally, in athletics, we will be hosting the FGC Invitational Cross-Country Meet tomorrow at Alligator Lake Park. The women's race, which features our number 14 ranked Timberwolves, begins at 9 a.m., and the men's race starts at 9:30 a.m. Our president, Dr. Barrett, will be the official starter of the race with either an air horn or the starting pistol, depending on the weather. You're not allowed to shoot the starting pistol if the weather is bad, so he may have to use the air horn. If you are planning on attending, here is a tip. The beginning of the race is the most exhilarating part, as is the ending. Not much to see in the middle since they are out around the lake. So we'd like to invite everybody out to join us tomorrow for our one home cross-country meet. And our men's basketball season has officially started. We have already participated in 3 preseason games in Tallahassee this last weekend, and we will be at the All-American Jamboree in Orlando with games against teams from Florida, Georgia, and New Jersey. So athletics are off and running. That concludes my report. Are there any questions?
I just wanted to make a comment. I had someone approach me out in the community, and I wanted to just thank you for the student advisement, the student success. The young person is in high school, and the grandparent was struggling with math. And so I don't remember how we got talking about calling out here and getting out here to get some tutoring, and it worked. And she came up to me and said just how wonderful it was, how everybody was so helpful, how much better he's doing in math. And I just felt like that was a great way to, kind of guide someone into coming here for when they finish high school, know those resources are available to them. So I think it was really wonderful that you helped someone that was in high school.
Definitely, I will pass it on. Thank you. Yeah, we open our doors to anybody who wants help, especially in math. That's a big one.
For a grandparent.
Anything else? Thank you, Mr. Cardenas.
Thank you.
Next, we have Ms. Schrader with Enrollment and Marketing.
Thank you. Good evening. For fall enrollment, we are slightly up in headcount at 0.4%. We're at 2,885 students compared to 2,874 students at this point last year. We're up 4% in credit hours at 26,133 credits compared to 25,149 credits. We do actually have a CDL class that starts on Monday the 16th, and it's full with 16 students, and that's not part of this enrollment update. We're gearing up for spring registration. That starts on October 30th, and the applications are looking good for that. We're currently up by about 50% in admission applications compared to this time last year. So very hopeful that that will translate to enrollment and that we'll have another positive enrollment shift for the spring. In the financial aid area, we're always trying to make students aware of how many scholarships we have. We need to apply for them to be considered. And as part of that effort, we have added a very large scholarship wall of fame just outside financial aid's department. And it's a really impressive graphic. It says, "Go further together with FGC scholarships" at the top. And we're actually going to post all of the scholarships we award throughout the year on this wall. And we hope that it'll visually communicate the number that we have and that we do award them. They just need to apply. And there's a QR code on that wall decal where it goes directly to the scholarship application. And I want to recognize the person who had the idea was Simma McIntyre. She's a financial aid specialist too in that department. And so she brought that idea to her director and she ran with it, and we appreciate that. Dual enrollment and recruitment have been very busy going to dual enrollment parent meetings across the schools. They went to a Baker County High School parent meeting on October 2nd, and there were 200 students that attended with their parents. So that was the best crowd they've ever had at Baker. It's really encouraging. And then later that evening, they also attended college night at Baker County High School. Other dual enrollment parent meetings include CHS this past Tuesday, and they're also there tonight doing presentations. And then we have Fort White High School coming up on October 24th. There were 2 dual enrollment information sessions that we offered here at FGC. It's open to the community. It's part of that initiative to get awareness directly to students and parents. Honestly, the turnout wasn't that great, but the ones that came, they were from private schools and homeschool. So I think that's helping to reach that population with the mail-outs and those sessions. We are continuing with dual enrollment advising to prepare them for spring registration. We'll be at Bell High School on October 16th, and then at CHS on the 25th and 26th of October. And then finally, we are working on a new student spotlight series. We're trying to highlight a student in each program and give the students perspective on the program, advice to other students, what their future plans are, those types of things. And our first student spotlight is Owen Cox. He is a welding student. He's actually the youngest welding student in the program. He's 19, and he graduates this fall. And he already has a job lined up with Florida Forest Service. And then in the spring, he's going to continue on to the Operations Management Technology program and get his AS degree. And I actually have a copy of the spotlight if you'd like to read more about Owen. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'd be great. Okay. I'll hand it out.
Yeah.
And that concludes the report.
Thank you. While you're handing that out, is it okay if I ask a question?
Sure.
I'll allow it.
Thank you. Did you say 50% up? 50?
Admission
Like you said 50. Is there like a secret sauce that you applied in this last little session to get those kind of numbers? Or is this more of like, economically, we know traditionally there's more of like a downturn in GDP, then people are looking into investing in education. So do you think this is just like a transient effect? I mean, I know it's kind of like, because if there's a secret sauce, then I would love to know what it is so we can apply it like.
I would also love to know it. I think it's a
Okay.
combination of things and communications and, like you said, the economic environment, and we're just happy
I mean, that is so exciting.
I know.
Like, I was like, she said 15,
I know,
right,
and
Miguel?
those,
I was like, no, I think
unfortunately, they
50.
don't all convert into enrolled students, so it's like, you don't want to get too excited about it.
Right, but it's still really
still
good.
Yeah.
I mean, it sets you up hopefully for more
Right.
success and, with
Right.
the other programs in place to kind of hopefully help everybody find a place where they feel like they can apply themselves. What an exciting number. Like, whoa.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool. Okay.
Question for you. So what does a starting welder make in the workforce?
Oh,
Pretty good money.
pretty good money, yeah.
Yeah.
Depends on which field they're.
Generally
in.
speaking, give me a ballpark. I mean,
If you go work I didn't mean to.
No, go ahead.
If you go work shutdowns, well over 100 a year.
I would really
Starting
love to
out,
see
you get
some,
over 100.
some connecting of some ranges. with these types of technical programs, because, I mean, I can tell you, and I'm sure John can back this up anecdotally in terms of, like, I call them our craftsmen, our artisans, our tradespeople that do these hard jobs.
Yeah.
And, you know, they're the kind of jobs that are physically demanding, but, you know, you look at their financial statements and their, especially when they get some additional business training behind them, they probably have as much, if not more, money in their accounts than some of the other people around town driving some really, really nice leased cars, right? And would you back me up on that statement?
Dirty hands make.
Yeah, it's like the millionaire next door, you know? So I really like to see some data to help market these programs, especially when we're looking at this charter school, to be able to show, like, we know what a starting nurse will make. We know what some of these other technical programs or these applied sciences programs will make. But, like, what does someone who does welding, I mean, are they looking at 50,000 starting out for a very minimal
Yeah, so salary.com, which I don't think is an official thing.
Like 32
nor-
an hour,
and
isn't it?
with my extensive Google search of 30 seconds, it looks like, you know, if they're in the lower percentile versus higher percentile, Suzanne, I mean, we're talking about $40,000 to $60,000 is kind of that range as far as starting to,
Right.
you know, experience. And I know that there are specialties within welding, because I have a patient who walked in one day and says, "Yes, I weld underwater." And I was like, "Well, how often do you work?" He said,
Those guys.
yeah. He's like, "Well, I work 3 months out of the year, and the rest I vacation all over the world." And I was like, "Well, that seems like, what am I doing as a physician?" But so apparently there's room within there to niche and all those.
This would be good information to tag into
Tag on
some of
there.
the,
On our academic program pages, we do have a career coach software embed that pulls in jobs in the area and the salary ranges. So that's, you know, connected there, but that's a good idea.
right, but it's someone that's thinking about, like,
Right.
well, you know what, I'm tired of what I'm doing, and I'd like to do this instead.
Right.
It's, you know, it's not a long program in terms of return on your investment.
Anything else? Thank you.
Thank you.
Wrap it up.
Let's do it.
Is he
Next,
give me
we'll
the
have
hook for asking a question?
Business service. Next, we have business services report with Ms. Holloway.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I have a few items I need your approval on, please, request your approval on. Budget amendment number 3. The college requests approval of budget amendment number 3 to the restricted current fund, Fund 2, for the fiscal year 2023-2024. This amendment recognizes revised award authorizations and new grants received in the 2023-2024 fiscal year.
Okay, you've heard the recommendation. Can I get a motion?
I moved to approve.
Is that Mr. Branham?
I'll second.
Dr. Teppadino? Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion passes.
Thank you. The next item, we are requesting approval of Fund 7, Budget Amendment 3, which has been revised, so the report reflects actual revenue, revised budgeted expenditures, actual expenses, and updated projects through September 21st, 2023.
Okay, you've heard the recommendation. Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve Fund 7, 3, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
That's Dr. Surrency.
Second. Medina.
Second from Mr. Medina. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion passes.
Thank you. My final item for requesting approval is the annual comprehensive safety inspection report. The college requests approval of the annual comprehensive safety inspection report for the fiscal year 2023-2024. The inspection is mandated by the state requirements for educational facilities, SREF, and the Florida Administrative Code. This report by SREF is to be submitted to the Florida State Fire Marshal's Office, Florida College System Risk Management Consortium, the Department of Education, and kept on file by the college upon approval by the District Board of Trustees. Each year, the DOE conveys to the Commission of Education the aggregate institutional reports. And I'd like to notate that our facilities has done a fabulous job. We have 3 non-serious violations. 2 of them are related to cleaning the grill in the hood area in the kitchen. And 1 is for a leak in a seal on a fire sprinkler. And And those are the only violations that we had. Very proud of that.
It's amazing.
And you need us to vote to approve. Okay, so you've heard the recommendation. Can I get a motion?
I make a motion.
That's Ms. McGinnis. A second.
I'll second.
Oh, Dr. Pepitino. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion passes. Anything else?
Thank you. Any questions?
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next is Dr. Barrett with President's Report.
I know I talk fast, but I don't know, do I have to really talk fast? Okay. Well, you will have to, Lee will slow me down. Before I do my report, I want to turn over my part of the report to the annual foundation update and some things that the board is asked to do each year on behalf of the foundation.
Okay, good evening. Thank you. We will give a brief foundation update, and then we'll briefly go over our audit report, which at that time, Mr. Chair, we'll ask for acceptance of that audit. And then the third topic will be requesting the board's recertification of the foundation for the following fiscal year. So as far as the foundation is concerned, starting next week, it is giving season, as we call it, all leading up to our Giving Day on November 14th, which will entail traditional online and regular giving, our second annual food truck event at our downtown Lake City office, and our inaugural online auction, all in the hopes of raising $100,001, because Dr. Barrett said we have to raise $1 more than we did last year. So that is his $1 that I was hoping he'd pull out $1 today in front of everyone and give to us, but it doesn't look like.
You know my wife doesn't let me carry
Yeah, that's
cash.
true. That's true. He doesn't carry the- Finally, I want to brag on the staff. I want to let everybody know that this staff, not only everybody in this room, but the remainder of the staff, really stands behind our mission here at with the foundation and Florida Gateway College, and 80% of the staff are donors to the Foundation for Florida Gateway College, which is actually the highest amount we have achieved in my tenure, so we're very proud of that. Moving on to our audit report, you should have that in front of you. Hopefully you had a chance to peruse that. It's wonderful reading material late at night. This is a clean, unmodified audit opinion from our independent auditor, James Moore, and the credit to that audit goes to our team back at our office, specifically Brenda Hunter and Rebecca Golden, who do a wonderful job keeping our finances in order. This is I believe this is the fourth year we've worked with James Moore out of Gainesville. We're very happy with their work and continue to do so. So in front of you, you should have a brief summary under Dr. Barrett's report that I prepared for you tonight, and I'll compare a couple of those numbers for you and then open it up to questions. The first number that should pop out is the revenues compared from 21-22 to 22-23. Those did decrease, and the main reason for that is when you're coming off a year in 21-22 where your portfolio of investments is up 20%, and then you have a year right behind it where you're down 14%, we can look at that as a positive that we're still up 6% over the 2-year time frame, but the revenues did decrease mainly due to a change in market value of our securities. Now, we are happy to announce for Trustee Norris specifically that our donations stayed steady, and we should have it should be a comparable 10% increase in donations over that time frame. So we're not just relying on our investments to help fund the college.
Aren't you glad that I've been asking you all these years to set you up for success for your
Well, you haven't had to ask for the last 5 because I know
You
to
got
answer
the
that
message the
question.
first time.
Generally takes one time, and then I learned my lesson. As you can see there too,
Bravo on that.
the support to the college decreased just a little bit from 1.5 million to 1.2 million, and that's mainly due to program enhancement. In the previous year, we had donated the Boys Club, which was in our possession, to the college. So that led to a large donation in 21-22 that did not obviously materialize in 22-23. But the scholarship dollars increased over $100,000 over the previous year. I credit that to a couple things. One, increase in enrollment, and then two, the foundation and donors fully funded CDL scholarships for an entire year, and then probably the increase in athletic scholarships as well. Our total assets remain at $24 million. I should have said this at the beginning. Especially for Mr. Medina, and who I know is new, our fiscal year actually runs April through March. So we're about 6 months behind reporting these numbers, but as we go through our multiple levels of approval from our finance committee to our executive board to then you here eventually today, it takes many months to get this done. The one final number I'll point out is the endowment-related distribution actually increased. So although our value of our securities went down, it's the power of the endowment. We take a 5-year average of our endowment funds and peel off 4% each year. So even though fiscal year 22 for us, or 23 for us, was a down portfolio year, we lost 2017, which was still a lower number than we ended in 22-23. So it allows the endowment to keep growing, and that's the power of endowments and why that works for us. Moving on to the second page, we still continue to outperform the S&P 500 and the Barclays Aggregate Bond Fund combined over the last 1, 3, 5, and 10 years. The foundation has no debt, and none is projected. And you should have one final page. We included the front of the 990 for you this year as well. I do want to point out one thing which may become a question, but I'll answer it beforehand. We did have, for the first time, UBTI, unrelated business taxable income, which you may say to yourself, but you're a 501c3. How are you paying taxes? It is due to the nature of our investments, mainly our private capital funds that we are invested in. It's just the nature of those funds that some of those are not generally related to our normal standard business. So we did pay approximately $7,000 in taxes on that this year, which we look at that from a standpoint of if we're paying taxes, we're making money. So the Finance Committee and our Executive Board understand that and are on par with that. So I will open the audit portion open to questions before we ask for acceptance.
Okay, any questions? Okay. Well, you have recommended acceptance of the foundation audit report. Can I get a motion?
Move to approve.
Ms. Norris?
I'll second it.
Ms. McGinnis? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion passes. Thank you.
Okay, the final topic today is the recertification of the Foundation for Florida Gateway College as the sole direct support organization for the fiscal year July 1, 2024 through June 30th, 2025 is now requested at this time.
Any questions? All right, you've heard the recommendation for the recertification of the foundation. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Ms. Norris?
Second.
Who was that? Dr. Surrency. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion passes. All right, thank you.
Lee, that was the quickest presentation I've ever seen. Anyway, moving on to my report, Mr. Chair. In your packet, in your pink folders, I think it's pink, is it? That's or whatever color this is. We should have a schedule of the design and construction schedule for the Innovation and Simulation Building. Next month, we will be bringing to you the initial designs of that building to move forward with in anticipation of construction documents in March, and we will probably begin groundbreaking sometime in the springtime, hopefully by March of 2024, with a expected final completion date of July 2025. So, and we believe that building will come in budget or slightly under budget again, as we usually do. So next month, we'll be looking for your approval of the schedule and the draft design.
So you got April for bidding. So you think you're going to break ground in March?
Oh, bidding, all right, no, I guess not. I guess, it wasn't what I wanted. So, I mean, I have,
Okay.
I wanted March, so, I mean, actually, construction, yeah, we're not going to do that.
Okay.
So, but we actually built the STEM building within 14 and a half months, so we believe we can turn around this simulation building in 12 months, because it's a less complicated building, so I'm sorry about that. Good catch, Suzanne. I wouldn't
I
look
actually
at
read
that.
what you give me.
Wanted to give you a quick update on, I want to first thank Catherine. I met with Catherine and Carol West last week to talk about how the college can integrate perhaps some of our scholarships better with the Great Dixie County Foundation each year. And I continued my promise that I would be there every Saturday after graduation to be at that thing. But so it was a good meeting. We got a lot of good ideas about potentially putting some boots on the ground in Dixie County with some potential monies that we have coming down the pike that we have. So I want to thank you for that meeting with both of you.
I'm very excited about that.
So the PAC, the renovations, the Jimmy Hoffa project, as I continue to call it, is done. The band shell that had about a foot of water in it for the past 40 years has been sealed, and 4 feet of concrete, about 50 feet long in length, has now been placed in there. So that smell that we've smelled for so long, I think, is almost gone. People say it's just in my head that it's gone, but I really believe it's done. We are doing extensive renovations of the PAC. The paint work, the painting inside the PAC is about halfway completed. The stage, the wooden stage, is being painted black per recommendation of our theater instructor and also industry persons. The dressing rooms have been gutted and ordered for all the new things in the dressing rooms, and we'll be undertaking another expansion of audio and visual in that PAC to make it the State of Performing Arts Center that we always have. And as part of that, we just announced this afternoon that we are kind of resurrecting the former entertainment series, but in a different way. We still haven't decided what we're calling it. There's a lot of different opinions about it, but we announced that Shaun of the South will be here in April.
Yep.
April 6th in the PAC. We also will be having a Swiftie simulation concert in the gym, and Rob Chapman and Lee Pinchuk has volunteered to be the chaperones for that, for 1,000 people coming out for a DJ event with Swiftie, Taylor Swift. So, and then also for our students, and then we also are going to have a Beatles cover band that we've just signed an agreement. So we'll be announcing that as a way to starting out, and we'll let you all know when you can get your tickets and so forth. So that's PAC renovations. Lots of other renovations going on, parking lots being done and things like that. I don't want to bore you with it, but a lot going on, over $1 million worth of renovations going on right now. The charter school, next month you will have presentation from our charter school consultant. She will be coming in. Some of us will be at the charter school conference next week, and we'll have a meeting with her, but also I believe Ms. Schrader, Ms. Holloway, and myself will be at that conference to meet with them and learning all sorts about things. We continue to meet. We had a meeting, I think I told you, with Santa Fe College. We got to see their new charter school in the last, about 3 weeks ago, and Lee went with us, and so did Cassie, the whole staff went. So keep in mind that. The other good news, or I want to thank Megan, Ms. Logan, and also Cassie Buckles. We made a decision to move away from the consortium regarding health insurance. We believe it's actually the actual health insurance part will be Florida Blue, will remain, and our employees will see no difference in Florida Blue. It'll be identical coverage as the consortium, but as part of that package, as we worked really hard, I think I was in the weeds a little bit too much, Cassie, as she told me a few times, that we have better dental benefits that will be coming for our employees, and also be adding eyeglass coverage for our employees. So we think it's a good start in this. Cut me up a couple of nights to make that decision, but we're going to move forward, and we think it's the right decision, and we're going to continue to pursue the state health plan as we continue, and hopefully the legislature, as it's the #1 priority for the system as a whole. So we'll see what goes on. So I just wanted to report you to that. And is that it? I think that is my report. Until then, we have I'll just introduce it, and I'll ask Megan to give you any legal advice or explain it. I think I've talked to many of you individually about we in 1965 as a college, when we were Florida Gateway Junior Forestry School, received what they called Spectrum. In 1965, it was a huge initiative that was going to change education across the United States, that we'd have point-to-point TV video coverage, so for all rural areas. They could have it. It's basically a megahertz, 2.35 on a megahertz scale. Most of educational institutions and daycares and so forth did not use it and never have used it. And a few years ago, we each year get about $30,000 in leasing for this megahertz that we get. And the federal government made a recommendation if companies could buy our spectrum. And we've been approached for many years about this spectrum, 2 or 3 years at least. We have now been able to negotiate a contract with that for the sale of the spectrum that would go directly to the college, and it's about $1 million. And so I thought it was a time to do that, and that will go towards programs and initiatives of the college. One of those initiatives, I think, if I got ahead of myself, as I usually do, one of those initiatives, since some of the spectrum comes from Gilchrist County, as I mentioned to Dr. Sorensen in a private meeting, and Dixie County. So some of that money will go towards those rural areas because we want that money to go towards that. So I would ask you to make that recommendation, but Megan, if you...
Yeah, I don't think I really have anything to add. It's 4 licenses, like Dr. Barrett said, for just over $1 million. They're paying a slight deposit up front, and then the balance at closing. There are still some hoops to jump through with regard to the FCC and notification, and the closing date is all based on those kind of intermediate deadlines. Though we have worked with council in Washington, D.C. to accomplish this, which this is absolutely within their wheelhouse. And we think it's a good thing for the college, and would ask that you approve that tonight.
Okay. Any questions from the board?
How long is the contract for?
So, like I said, as far as a closing date until completion,
How long are we, how long is the contract good for?
well, we're selling, we're selling.
Selling it, period.
We're selling these
Selling,
assets,
okay.
yes. We have been
Selling.
under a lease.
Okay.
The idea would be we are now selling these
Okay.
assets.
Okay. Any other questions?
Who bids on it? Like TV companies?
No, like all the T-Mobile.
Cell phone companies.
All the cell phone companies, because it will now integrate, and we will, I could get really into the weeds, but we were the last holdout of all the educational institutions in the state of Florida. So there is some higher price we get for it because as they negotiate, they try to work it around. So it was a matter of timing. If we did this a little bit a while ago, we probably got more. We kind of went back and forth, and so it will be probably one of, like T-Mobile will be the one probably, most likely.
Megan, is there any ongoing liability, or do they hold us harmless?
They do.
Indemnify?
They currently have leases for these same channels, and there's indemnification and hold harmless language under that, and then the contract provides for the same thing.
Any other questions? Okay. I'll entertain a motion.
So move, Medina.
Mr. Medina,
Second.
Ms. Norris, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion passes. Thank you.
That's it for me.
That's all you have?
That's it.
Any questions for Dr. Barrett?
I'll be fast, I promise. 2 things that you orchestrated, and Lee, I want to say thank you to Lee too. Had a fantastic foundation donor luncheon. It was probably the best one that I've attended. It was well done. I think everybody had a great time. So congratulations on that. And then secondly, for Altrusa, you had a fantastic program where you brought out all of the athletic department with the coaches, with student athletes. I was so proud to be on this board as those young people got up and talked about why they came to Florida Gateway. They talked about their grades, which has been, the first initiative that we had in place. This is an academic athletic program, and they all carried themselves so well, and it was just really exciting, and it's probably one of the best programs that we've had in Altrusa in so many years. Everybody walked out of there just going like, I didn't know this, I didn't know that, and they were so impressed. And so thank you for putting that together. I know it's a lot of work for the college.
And we're going to do that Rotary because it's
Right.
so well
It was really, everybody walked out of there just jazzed. That takes a lot to, after Altrusa, how many years you go to it, and you're like, no, okay, whatever. But it was really exciting. The college really shone out so well. So you had like 2 great events, like almost back to back, that were just top notch. So thank you, and thank you to your staff and all the people that helped to coordinate it, and especially to the students that came and represented the college, both at the foundation when they spoke on behalf of the foundation, and then also the student athletes. So thank you.
Okay. Anything else? All right, next. I'm sorry.
I think we have an update.
All right.
All right.
It's good news.
Yeah, good news. Next item is topics for future meetings, and I believe there was a spiel that Mr. Crawford usually says, but I don't know it, so I'll just ask if any of you have any topics for future meetings you would like to have heard or discussed? Anyone? No? Okay. The next item is the warrant register. We all have it and have had an opportunity to inspect it. Are there any questions about the warrant register? Okay. The next item is setting time for our next meeting. It'll be November 9th. It'll be at 5 p.m. at the Union County School Board office in Lake Butler. And we'll probably be fed, I would assume. So if there's nothing else, then I will declare this meeting adjourned. You don't have to take a motion to adjourn.
That's his lawyer.
That's right.
No. Well,